At least it wasn't your feet. At least it wasn't my car.
Okay, it's 9 o'clock, and the Commissioners Court meeting of November 23rd is returning after recess. It's now November 25th. The court is present except for Commissioner Wright, who had something come up, and we have a quorum with Commissioner Guerin, Commissioner Hall, Commissioner Williams, and myself. And we have Deputy Clerk Joey Noel via Zoom. Also in the audience, we have Commissioner-elect Dale Parton, and joining us via Zoom, we have William Kelsey of Bluebonnet and Sam Gregson.
And I think Michael Pritchard's also on, so.
I see our treasurer, Trina Busby, is watching also. I expected Goldthwait Eagle reporter, but our usual coverage has COVID, and whether or not they have a substitute available, I don't know. So with that, where we were when we recessed court on the 23rd was we had one remaining item on our agenda, which was consideration and act on a tax abatement agreement with Bluebonnet Wind Power, LLC. We have that agreement in front of us. It's was prepared by our attorney, Jeff Allen, who I also expected to be on the line. Jackie, would you please call Jeff Allen and
He's on.
Judge, I'm here.
Yeah, he's here.
Here, he's there.
yes, I didn't see him.
And Brian Witt just signed on too.
Okay, well, I guess I'm just not displaying it all. Okay, there we go. Then disregard. So anyway, the abatement agreement was prepared by our attorney, Jeff Allen. It mirrors, with a few exceptions, the abatement agreement that the court approved on Monday for Pretty Wind Project, LLC. Other than name changes and sizing changes, there's references to megawatts and number of employees. The significant difference in the two is on page 5, which is the proposed pilot payments. Just to refresh the court's memory, the agreement that was approved for the Pretty project had a pilot payment of $3,100 per megawatt. Bluebonnet and I have discussed at length the proposed pilot payment per megawatt on this project, and the best that has been put forward is what's on this agreement of $2,850 per megawatt per year. And the other thing that was discussed Monday was the concept of abatements versus pilot. And so our attorney prepared alternate language, which is just a substitute in section 8 that shows how the agreement would read. We actually have a whole other agreement, but the difference is in section 8 that if we go with something other than a pilot, this is the way it would read if we went with an abatement. So with that background, I know I'd like to turn it over to William Kelsey, who would like to explain to the court why, in Bluebonnet's view, 2850 is the right number.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming back together to talk about our project right before Thanksgiving. I hope that wasn't too much of a inconvenience for folks, but I think when you're comparing the Pretty project to the Bluebonnet project, you know, they're really not apples to apples because the two projects are significantly different in size. And because of our lack of economies of scale at Bluebonnet, we just can't afford the higher pilot payment. And it truly is makes an impact economically on the project if we can't afford the 3,100, but we can afford 2,850, and I think it's right sized for a 117 megawatt project. And so that's basically the long and the short of it. And I would also say that our preference is to enter into a pilot agreement with the county instead of an abatement agreement. We like the the more defined payments that the pilot agreement represents. Even though on a levelized basis, I think it's just slightly more money than we would be paying under the straight abatement agreement. And, I think there's some advantages to the county under the pilot in terms of, the way that the accounting aspects of it. But I guess I'll, after saying that, I'll open it up to questions or comments.
William, if I
One
could,
quick
let me
question.
add
I
just-
think I heard you say 117 megawatts, and all the numbers I'd seen talked about 103.5, and I just wanted to clarify.
Sam, go ahead.
Yes, when we filed the application, as is generally the case, all of these projects are slightly in still development, fine tuning what's going to happen, where turbines. So when the application was filed, we were as close as possible with the 103.5. The 117 is where we are now, and all the modeling that you've seen, Your Honor, has been based on the 117 megawatt project. So the numbers that we're looking at from an investment standpoint and the corresponding pilot that's been proposed are tied to the 117 megawatts.
What would be the
one point
initial investment at 117 megawatts then?
Yes, the initial investment is based on the 117.
You're asking what is our capital cost investment at for the 117 megawatts, Judge?
Yes, I was showing 188,000, I think, off the application for 103, and I was asking where that number would be on 117.
Yeah. Hey, Sam, I don't have that. Yeah.
I can tell you that number will be 138,613,761 in the first year.
Sorry, I interrupted, Mr. Gregson. Was you want to continue?
I just wanted to make an observation that we've seen as we've worked with numerous clients.
You're muted,
These smaller
Sam.
projects historically have a
I-
larger. Go ahead, William.
Well, I think they're having a hard time hearing you in the courtroom. I can hear you just fine.
Try it again.
Okay, Judge, is this better?
Yes.
Okay, I don't want to get too close to the screen. I might scare you. So, what we found generally speaking is smaller projects have a higher cost per megawatt to build, and certainly that plays into trying to make a project competitive when it's smaller, and that kind of plays into why the pilot number looks a little different here as well to make this project competitive.
To share with the court the benefit of some numbers, and these were based on 103 3.5 megawatt project, so the numbers will be different. They'll be larger, but the proportions would be the same. Just wanted to give the court some idea that at the proposed pilot payment, the payment to the county would be at 103 megawatts, would be approximately 294.9 thousand a year, so just under 300,000. That's just under 3 million, 2.9 something over 10 years. Now, if you, the alternative that we've always considered in the county has been the 60%, 40% abatement, 60% for 5 years and 40% for the second 5 years. And if you run that against, again, back on the 103 megawatt project, a reduced investment, and the historical depreciation curve, the tax revenue to the county would be a little over 2.7 million. So the abatement has an excess value to the county above the tax. I'm sorry, the pilot is worth more to the county than the abatement under the forecast by about $182,000, which is about $18,000 a year is the betterment. And again, these numbers will be larger for as the project is now a few, 10 megawatts or so larger, but the proportions would be the same. Now, and we have the risk factor that we talked about last Monday. So I'd like to invite our counsel, Jeff Allen, if he has anything here he would like to comment on. And my specific question would be a confirmation or not to the court on the market value of the proposed pilot and the observation on reduced economies of scale and smaller projects that he has worked with.
It's just I would see this as it's in line with the majority of the abatements that we do. It falls in line with a 60-40, which we've talked about several times, was the traditional abatement that we've seen. The pilot proposed at 2850, I believe what it is. It lines up with that and comes out consistent throughout the time. It gives a little benefit to the county. And we do often see, as they've described, the utilities, the benefit of the scale of the project. It's why you see many of the projects today are larger. They're cheaper to build larger. You get greater benefit of it. Blue Bonnet has always been a smaller project since when it was first leased. 15, 16 years ago now. It's been around for a long time. It's always been on this scale. And so it does have that disadvantage. So I don't have any reason to not believe what they're, the story is true. It's just going to have that disadvantage over a project that's bigger. It's going to be a little more expensive to build. But overall, the offer here is consistent with what we have seen on other projects.
Thank you. It's been, I've been doing most of the talking with the applicant and our attorney, so I'd like to back out and invite the commissioners to either ask questions or talk among ourselves on this matter. Start by any questions for either the applicant or our attorney.
Oh, do we need to change it on this abatement right here that's in front of us from that 103?
What page are you on?
I don't see it actually. I was looking on page 4.
Question to Mr. Allen is, do we need to change that to another number?
Generally, what we have in there is at a minimum, and I think in section 5, we say the project would be a minimum of 100 megawatts. So what they've discussed is 117. We would have an issue if it came out as 90 megawatts or something like that. I don't know that we specifically state the number unless we recite it somewhere. But typically, we just put that floor explaining our agreement with the company is that we understand you're building a project that's at least this size. We chose in the agreement 100 was based off of the original application at 103. It gives that little wiggle room in case a turbine got eliminated for whatever purpose during final construction. But I don't know that we have anything else in there that we would need to change with it getting larger.
This Monday, but the Monday before on, the minimums and stuff like that. So I didn't know. Yeah, on page 4, number 5.
Written with a minimum of 100 megawatts, that's 3 under what, this is basically, let's say 2 turbines, maybe less than or more.
So for the design of the project, Bluebonnet has basically 26 wind turbine locations that we're going to end up using, and we're going to use a 4.5 megawatt class machine. So if that math works out to 117 megawatts. So.
Okay, that's the only
Mr.
question.
Guerin?
Thank you for clarifying that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Monday, the way the tax code works, assuming there is an approval here today, we, the county cannot execute an agreement until 7 days after it's been presented to the other taxing districts, which in the case of Bluebonnet is only Goldthwaite ISD.
Oh, Judge, my wife, who's also on the school board, got a text from the superintendent, and he is now in quarantine. So we need to make sure that we send that information to the school board president, which is Kerry Roberts across the street. So
We'll do,
he's
yeah.
going to be down for, I don't know what, that 10-day period or whatever. So, yeah.
We will do that. We have, just as a matter of course, sent duplicate notices to the superintendents and the presidents of each school board. But in this case, and we will do so. Actually, we already have the envelopes addressed, but there's no action required on their part. So the fact that he is too sick to do anything, the requirement, is just that we notify them and wait 7 days.
Okay. I just wanted to inform you
Both of
that
them.
she got that.
It's possible. It's not showing that way on my map. Let's ask the applicant whether Mr. Kelsey or Mr. Gregson know.
What was the question? I'm sorry, I didn't.
The question was, is your project in any other school district, specifically the Lomita School District?
No, the Bluebonnet project falls all in the Goldthwaite school district. According to the mapping and our diligence that we've done. I suppose it wouldn't be the first time somebody's been wrong about something like that, but it's our view that it's all in the Goldthwaite ISD district.
Yeah, this would have all been in the Star ISD. I checked it pretty carefully back when we did the reinvestment zone. And at that time, this project was only in one school district.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to do this mainly because the citizens, the landowners in this area, I think have been working on this for longer than any other project in the county. And
it's been a long time coming.
Yes, Judge, and I can confirm that we represented a lot of
For
landowners. It's been a
Mr. Allen.
We can confirm, we represented most of those landowners, and they've been staying with this project for a very long time. Probably we've represented landowners in several hundred projects, and this is probably the oldest one to make it to this point that we've ever done.
Jeff, in your history with the project, how many times has it switched develop? I mean, has a new developer stepped in and bought it? Just
It's
twice?
been a couple, 2 or 3. I know there was
Okay.
a serious one around 2010
Mhm.
that went pretty far and fell off, and I think another one after that because we did a couple amendments. The original developer, Mr. Osborne, took some extraordinary measures to keep the project together.
Right. And he's still involved as part of our, development team. And, anyway, it's a great project, something we're very excited about, and, any support the, county can afford us via a pilot agreement, we'd be highly appreciative of.
Judge Smith, I make a motion that we approve the tax abatement that it's in front of us with the pilot program for the Bluebonnet Wind and Power LLC property.
We have a motion from Commissioner Williams to approve the tax abatement agreement as presented with the $2,850 per megawatt annual pilot payment. Is there a second?
I'll second it, Judge.
Aaron, any further discussion? Okay, let's call for a vote. All in favor of approving the tax abatement agreement for Bluebonnet Wind Power LLC with a pilot payment of $2,850 per megawatt per year for 10 years, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the agreement is approved. It will be executed after the 7-day notice period runs, Mr. Kelsey.
Well, thank you guys. We, on behalf of the project and on behalf of Swift Current and, my development team, we really appreciate, the back and forth and the discussion that we've had with the county. And we really appreciate the thoughtfulness in which you guys have considered our application. And we look forward to working with you guys going forward. And, as we discussed, Judge Smith, as we move through the design phase of the project, we're going to need to talk about that road use agreement. And so there's some other business we need to take care of later on. But anyway, I appreciate all of your all's participation, and I hope each of you have a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday.
I'd also like to say thank you
on
for
my
your,
left is Commissioner Guerin. The whole project is in his precinct, and he would be the counterparty on the road use agreement.
Okay, well, great. Well, nice meeting you, even though it's over video.
Okay.
Your Honor, I would like to say thank you for
thank
your
you.
help on all of this, as well as I would like to say a
It's
special
closer
thank
to
you
the
Jackie.
camera, Sam.
Oh, it's.
Oh, sorry. Okay. I just wanted to say thank you to you for your help in this and the conversations we've had, and a special thank you to Jackie for her help in making sure all the paperwork gets done correctly. So I very much appreciate the help from the county side.
Well, let's save our backpacks till this project padding till this project gets built, given its history. But we would very much like to see it up and running.
Good point. We'll get it done.
Okay, we have concluded all the business that was on our agenda for November 23rd. Yes.
I got one more thing I want to add from a commissioner's report. Swinging Bridge. I got a phone call from TxDOT, and they're supposed to have diagrams and in their hands by the 11th, and parts ordered, and hopefully we can have parts in our hands before Christmas. I don't know if we're going to get the bridge open before Christmas. You know how TxDOT is. Robert's had to deal with them quite a bit, but they're saying the 11th, the plans are supposed to be finalized in Austin and then we should be back on the swinging bridge hopefully before Christmas. That's what we told everybody, and I'm hoping they're standing by it. So
Right.
anyway, I just want to give you a report. Everybody's been asking.
If the Eagle's online, I'm sure that will be a high level of community interest.
I mean, I know everybody wants to go see it during the holidays, and so it's still open to walk-in traffic only.
Have the Christmas lights hanging on it.
Not yet. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay.
Make a motion that we adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn. We have a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Court is adjourned. Thank everybody for attending.
Have a good Thanksgiving.